Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We'll call the meeting to order of the Finance, Development, Economic, and Regional Affairs Committee on February the 24th, 2026 at 5 p.m. We don't have the flag salute with this particular committee, so we will go straight to what the mayor calls the most important item of the evening, which is public comment. We do have one person, Paul McDaniel. Would you come to the podium, please?
Good evening. Paul McDaniel, Federal Resident since the early 1990s. Tonight, I'm going to talk about, obviously, numbers and money. Three numbers I'm going to talk about tonight. The first number is going to be 7. There is 7 of you guys. You guys represent 100,000 residents. 30% of residents, I've been told, are immigrants. You don't represent 30%, you represent 100% of us. That's 100,000. We're going to talk about numbers that are generated through that 100,000 residents and how the city uses them. Nothing I'm going to talk about tonight I'm going to say is illegal, but I do question the way that money moves sometimes in the cities and how they push budgets around so the numbers look a little bit better during the end of the year. The second number I'm going to talk about is 8 million. 3 times I've come up to the city and I've asked city council and actually the city mayor, why did $8 million seem to change on our total expenditures? In the October FedRAC, our expenditures were negative 4.9 million to budget. As of December, they were 3.2 million positive. That's an $8 million swing. I asked if something that was purchased, things that were supposed to be purchased in the 25 year were pushed off to 26. All they had to do is wait till this most recent monthly finance report came out, and I can see exactly how some things might have changed. All of a sudden in January, we purchased 16 police vehicles. That's a pretty large purchase, and they all purchased on 1/30. We also had a $3 million payment for insurance, $3 million payment on insurance on 1/15. So one of my questions is going to be were these items that could have been paid in 25 or were supposed to be paid in 25 according to the budget, were then pushed off to 26 in order to make the expenses look better on 25? I know it's the same budget cycle, but moving to 26 means you moved headaches from 25 into 26. I don't see us being financially stable this year. Right now, if I'm looking at the FedRAC reports, it looks like we're about $4 million shy of where we should be in revenue streams. And while our expenses look great, our expenses don't look like they moved hardly at all in the last month, as if the money did not move at all in December, knowing that we'd be short on money. This is going to be a very, very tight budget cycle. I'm going to move on to the next thing, and that's going to be the next number, 18 million. I have my last budget book, and on page 2019 of that budget book, it talks about the 6-year capital improvement plan, and it talks mostly about parks. There is it says 19 million. I'm sure this is shy about 5 to 10 million. 19 million of unfunded liabilities. So on top of everything else we have, starting next year in 2027, there is $17 million that should be looked at. That should probably be closer to 25 million. We have no money saved up for any of the expenses we have, for any of the buildings we have. There is no funds. So if something happens, you have to go to the taxpayers, you have to look for a grant, or you have to find ways to get that money. And the last thing, the report. This report has 26 and 25 combined. It's the first time you guys messed it up. There is no report that shows all the numbers from 25. You now have all of 25 and single months for some of these reports. I don't have enough time. If you looked at the report, you'd know that. It's the worst report I've ever seen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel. I'm sure that if you ever want to meet with Steve Groom, our finance director, he'd be happy to do that. Thank you. So we're moving on to agenda for the evening. And by the way, Mr. McDaniel, I did note everything you've talked about on your sheet. That will go. Thank you. Oh, so the first item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the summary minutes from January 27th, 2026.
I move approval of minutes.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from January 27th, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on, we have Mr. Commander Thaddeus Hodge. It's good to see you, Commander.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, committee chair and committee members and council. I am Commander Hodge of the Federal Way Police Department. Today, I have the honor of speaking on behalf of Chief Andy Wong and presenting the amendment to interlocal agreement between Pierce County and the City of Federal Way. The options in front of you are today is 1, to approve the proposed amendment, or 2, do not approve the proposed amendment and provide direction to staff. Background. The amendment for calendar year 2026, the hour rate for extra duty assignments has increased to $108.67 per officer, reflecting a 3.5 pay increase awarded to members of the Police Department Officer Guild. Holiday rates are as follows. All holidays except the 4th of July will be $163 per hour per officer, and 4th of July, $217.34 per hour per officer. Pierce County has agreed to compensate the city of Federal Way at the rates for each officer working extra duty assignments. Are there any questions?
Committee, do we have any questions? Anybody other than the committee, any questions? Now, this is all for the officers for Sound Transit, correct?
Yes, the contract amendment from 2005 to 2006 amendment, yes.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'm not able to get logged in. I'm not seeing the
Commander, if I may, Linda,
Okay.
thank you. How many officers are usually impacted by this?
That, I really can't answer that question, is whoever signs up for it is a first come, first served sign up, which they
Okay.
work at the transit officer based on the slots that are allotted to them.
Right. And of course, this is our first time doing this.
No, it's not the first time doing it. We've been doing it for a while.
Oh,
This
I'm-
is just an amendment to our contract from last year to reflect the raise that they got.
Okay, I was thinking of the downtown station, is what I was thinking of. But you're talking about in general, Sound
Yes.
Transit? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would be kind of interested looking at last year, like how many officers were impacted with this, just out of curiosity, but I can ask Steve and Chief on
Yes, sir.
that. So, but with that being said, I'll make a motion here.
Oh, I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just turned my light on. So with soccer event happening, will there be a higher need for more officers there?
At this time, we don't foresee that happening. I believe Commander Jedediah Tad came to you guys and got approved for overtime for that event. They don't foresee more people coming to the city for the soccer event other than parking and moving, and all that will be covered as far as this contract and the personnel they need.
So since light rail has opened, have we had more incidents of crime in
We
that
have
area?
not. Pierce Transit has a lot of people there, and we have been doing a lot of activity up there ever since it opened. So it is saturated with officers to ensure that crime does not increase.
Have you had any issues in the parking garage?
We have not, ma'am, not to my knowledge, no.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you, ma'am. Thank you.
And just to, for Councilmember Moore, Director Groom said prior to the meeting that if anybody had any questions, to be sure to email him, and he would be happy to answer your questions.
Sure, and I'm sorry, that just now came up in my mind, so I will do that afterwards, but of course, I saw that email as well, that you encouraged those questions in advance, but that question just now popped in, but
Sure.
I think our officers do a fantastic job, and I think this is absolutely important, that we approve this, and I'm ready with a motion.
Go ahead.
So I move to forward the proposed amendment to the March 3rd, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Commander.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we're moving on to item C on the agenda, which is authorization to apply 3 Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office grants. And I'm sorry, could you pronounce your last name, please? I'm going to mess it up.
Yes, it's Oriana.
Ariana, thank you so much. Go ahead, please.
All right. Greetings, Council President Honda, Committee Chair Kochmar, Committee and Council members. Today, I'll be speaking on the authorization to apply for 3 Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office grants, also known as RCO. The policy question is, should City Council authorize staff to apply for 3 recreation grants through RCO for public facility needs. Let me just pull this up. The financial impacts. This item is not included within the approved budget for Parks capital budget. As proposed, potential projects will be funded by RCO. Projects will require a matching funding source from the city, which will be funded through the Parks Capital Fund. There are also matching contributions that may and will be included for awarded grants. And this includes other grants, staff time, materials, and equipment. Matching fund requirement is 10% of the total project request. Upon completion, the facility design, renovations, and construction, any future costs will be minimal due to ongoing costs associated with operations and maintenance. For background information, the RCO is accepting grant applications for this year, 2026, to invest in Washington's great outdoors. Our targeted grants for the Parks Department is the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program, WWRP, and Youth Athletic Facilities, YAF. The Parks Department has identified facility projects that fit within the application criteria. These grant opportunities will greatly improve the longevity of the infrastructure, the enjoyment of the park, and efficiency and cost savings for the city. And the proposed projects are included in the table below. And they are the three. Under WWRP Local Parks, it's Sacagawea Park Lighting System upgrades, and that includes converting the metal halide lights to LED lights. City match 10%, and the estimated ask at this time is $450K. WWRP Trails, proposed project is Steel Lake Annex Nature Trail Phase 1, which I know will also include Boardwalk. And that's also a 10% match, and amount requested at this time is $600,000. And for the Youth Athletic Facilities grant, the proposed project is Celebrations Park Field Replacement, and that's replacing the sod to artificial turf. Again, 10%, and the ask is $1.5 million. And on the screen, I just have the map of where these are located in Federal Way. So I have the policy question again. Should City Council authorize staff to apply for 3 recreation grants through the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office for public facility needs? The options considered is 1, authorize staff to apply for 3 RCO grants for recreation facilities, or 2, do not approve staff to apply for RCO grants and provide direction to staff.
Thank you very much. Looks like we have Councilmember Walsh.
Yeah, with the Steel Lake Annex one, is that a path going to be similar to what there is at High Lobos, or what will that be like?
Yes, it will be. We're still in the process of scouting the path, but from what I am understanding, that there's already some action taking place, and it'll be formalizing the trail.
Okay, so it's kind of in the wetland, undeveloped area
Correct.
of the Steel Lake Annex. All right, yeah, that'll be wonderful, especially to have that more in the downtown area. So, great.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. So I see here, it says, the Parks Department has identified facility projects that fits within the application criterias. So I guess ultimately, my question is, how do we decide Sacagawea Steel Lake Celebration Park, as those will be the 3 projects that we're gonna seek funding for? Obviously, it meets the criterias, so I have every faith and confidence, but why not like other parks? Why not other items, other trails, why were these the ones that were chosen over the others? I'm just curious.
Yes, we have.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a running list of projects that need assistance. For these, factors included, do we have a match? Also, safety, the Sacagawea lighting, the poles are deteriorating, so that was a big push for us to try to apply for this application. And then, let's see, Steel Lake Annex, all of these locations are 10% match versus 50, and that's because these are within the underserved communities area.
Councilmember Moore, I would also add that the Finance Department meets routinely with the Parks team. We're always juggling, trying to make things work, and all three of these projects have been on the wait list. Jason Gerwin has been looking for ways to fund these for quite some time. So they've been a priority on our wait list with no money for them. So the opportunity to do some leverage made some sense if these are approved.
Thank you, Stephen. I think the follow-up question in my mind also, at the same time, was, we spent a good period of my second term talking about Lakota Park. And I think there's been some very light cosmetic changes. And that one's a bit challenging because I know the school district owns that as well, if I'm not mistaken, or owns part of it or something like that. But I guess my first question is, and I'm fine with these recommendations, but my curiosity question is would Lakota Park meet that need criteria by any chance? Or, because we've talked about that for a long time too, as we have with everything else.
That is definitely on the list, council member. At this time, that is within the 50% match, and that is why we chose to stick with the 10% match, knowing that we have limited funding.
Got it. Okay.
But Lakota is a priority as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Council President Honda.
Thank you. Will the school district be putting any funding into the Sacagawea updates? The 10% match, will they help us with that?
We will be in conversations with them. At this time, it's not confirmed.
So we don't expect it?
We could.
Okay.
They
I'll be
are
happy if they
contributing
help us.
for the soccer field. Sorry, the field. There's another artificial turf going in Sacagawea, and they are giving a match for that.
That's good. For the Steel Lake Annex, we already have an RCO grant for that property, so this would be the second one for that property, I believe.
I'm not aware of the first RCO grant for the annex, but I can look.
Well, it was why it could be used for the maintenance yard, because we have an RCO grant there. For Celebration Park, we have the artificial turf that we've been talking about before. So is this for the same two fields that we've talked about? Is this to complete the funding for that?
This will be, that existing grant will be the match for this application. The grant received
Right.
will be our match because it's not enough funding to do one.
So then does it complete the funding so that the
Yes.
project can go forward?
Correct.
And that will be a 2027 that we do these projects?
Yes, applications are due by the 30th of April and grants will be awarded by July 2027.
So when we talk about getting a grant, do you think these are good, good options as compared to what other cities are applying for?
Yes, as we look at years prior, they are very comparable.
So the match for the Steel Lake Annex and for Sacagawea, where is that funding coming from?
It's-
And is it out of the 2027
Yes.
budget?
For Sacagawea, yes, we do have capital funds with the 303 account. And also our time and labor also is included. With the Steel Lake Annex, we have partners that do work on the trail, and their time and labor and equipment would also include in the grant as a match.
So then you have to document their labor and their time,
Correct,
and the staff's labor and time?
yes. There is reporting throughout the process, application process, and even after award.
All right, thank you.
Linda?
Councilmember Wall?
Yeah, who are the, you mentioned that with the Steel Lake Annex project, we had some partners to work on it. Who are those partners?
Their name is, I'm drawing a blank, but it's the I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but they work with the plants.
The people
native-
trying to restore the native plants.
Yeah, Native
Oh,
Plant
okay,
Society.
great,
That is
great.
correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilmember,
Yeah, I'm not sure who to direct this question to, but I see a lot of parks items on here, turf fields and everything. Why isn't it not under the purview of the Parks Committee?
Director Groom, you want to answer that?
We had room on the agenda. Was there a deadline, was there a timeline that we were trying to hit? Is that what it was?
It's the deadline.
Yeah. Thank you.
Also financial, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's just.
Go ahead,
lot-
Councilmember
Lots
Wall.
of times, if there's something with a pending deadline, especially a grant application that needs to be put in, it'll be put on the agenda of whichever committee is coming up next, rather than sometimes the committee that it would normally pertain to. So
Okay.
there's a good chance with this one here, if there wasn't a deadline, it very likely would have ended up on the Parks Committee. But since there is a type of
There is
deadline,
one.
then you get it. So there'll sometimes be things on the Parks Committee that really don't apply to that committee that would normally be maybe on FEDRAC or LUTC. But because of timing, it can sometimes make a difference. So-
And I did see an email that came through today that said that there's going to be something on your Parks Committee next week that's going to be referencing something that had a deadline that wouldn't normally go to Parks. So good luck.
Got it. All right,
So
thank you.
when something comes to committee, it goes to council with a recommendation, and then all council members vote on it.
Okay.
So the committee work is a recommendation to the whole council.
Okay.
So Councilmember Moore, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
I mean, just a clarification. So this RCO grant, I heard you talking about the timeline of it, that it would be awarded in 2027, is that right?
Correct.
Wow. That's a long time from now.
It's a process.
Yeah. Interesting, okay. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly, so. I'm ready with the motion.
Go ahead.
Okay. I move to forward the request to apply for the RCO grant for recreation to the March 3rd, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Say your name again, please, so I get that straight finally.
It's Clarabelle Oriana.
Oriana, thank you so much. Thank you. Ah, Meredith. What is her title?
Miss Oriana, because you're new to me, what's your title?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Capital, Arts Capital Manager.
Nice. Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Capital Projects Manager.
Awesome, awesome, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And so now we're moving on to item D on the agenda, which is college small business. I'm sorry, do I have the right one here? Neil, yeah.
do.
With Rich. I was just going to say you didn't look like Rich.
Yep, no, I'm just introducing Rich.
Okay.
So good evening, council, Meredith Neal, Economic Development Director. So tonight, we have two of the people from our Highline Community College team in the Small Business Development Center. So we'll have Rich and Fawn come on up, and apologies, we put Andrew's name in here, but Andrew is not joining us tonight, but Fawn is, and so I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you.
And then-
Good evening. Andrew's on vacation, so that's why he's not here. But I have my colleague.
Hopefully
Fonzie
not in
Alonso.
Mexico, right?
Pardon?
Hopefully not in Mexico.
I don't think he's going to Mexico. But thank you for having us here tonight. We wanted to share a little bit about our program and the results from last year. I've met a number of you. Those I haven't met, I look forward to meeting you and getting to know you better. So first, our team. Fonzie Bongsai. She is our program manager for Start Zone and a certified business advisor. Andrew Powers came to us with some technology expertise, which we need, and also he's our go-to person for AI that we're all trying to learn and apply, and he's a certified business advisor. Veronica Ochoa works with our Spanish-speaking community, and I run the program and am a certified business advisor as well. Tonight, we function at Highline under the Business Development Center. There's really two programs. Our Start Zone Microenterprise Program, which is a Highline brand, and Fawn will share a little bit more about that in a little bit later, and the Small Business Development Center, which is a national brand. And tonight, we're going to focus just on the results of the Small Business Development Center, because that program is funded through the general fund from the city. Our Start Zone program does receive funding, but it's through the Community Block Grant Fund. So that's why we're separating them for the reporting purposes. What I'd like to show you is the results of last year, and really the number that stands out is the number of client meetings we have. We had about 327 client meetings last year. That really only encompassed about 37 businesses, and that's because we work at some pretty deep detail with these businesses. So it's not just a one-time meeting, it's multiple meetings and multiple hours. Our average meeting probably is just over an hour. Some go much longer and some are as short as 15 minutes. But that's the work we did with that funding from the city last year. And the businesses reported to us that they created 7 full-time jobs and 23 part-time jobs, and were able to receive just over $2.7 million in capital funding. These results that we share, and others I'll show you in just a few minutes, we don't report those unless they're reported to us by the business owner. We've always been able to say confidently that the results that we're reporting do come from the business, and that's really important when we're reporting for federal and state funding and back to our partners. So those are confirmed either through an email or through a survey where they actually attribute those results to assistance from the Small Business Development Center. These are some additional summary notes or summary of our program. We're pretty proud of the demographic that we serve. We have a diverse team. Our team is probably the most diverse of the SBDCs in the state, and we serve a fairly diverse community. And we're proud that we're able to spread that work over that base. We've also shown you the ownership of the businesses between male-owned, female-owned, and jointly owned. And then we also pull out those businesses that are veteran-owned. And then you can see in the type of companies we work with, just about half of them were established businesses older than a year old, and about half are pre-venture and 1 year or less. And then the type of services we provide, and I apologize if these are kind of small, but you can see that we provide services in a number of different advising categories. We'll really work with a business to cover any topic, but these are some of the highlights, and you'll see that business planning is one of the busier ones this year. And anytime we see changes in economics, there's a lot of startups and there's a lot of businesses that are refocusing their business, and that's usually captured as a business plan. The type of businesses we serve here in Federal Way, it's a lot of wholesale trade and retail trade and a lot of services, but this gives you a picture of the kind of the spread of the type of businesses we work with as well. There's a lot of technical assistance out there, so the question would really be what makes us different. We provide confidential, no-cost advising. We provide direct services and referrals to those businesses if we can't provide the service. Our team, as you saw, is all certified. That means we go through a 6-month certification when we join the network. And then we're full-time. There are some that are volunteer organizations out there that are great organizations, but when you're full-time, you pay a little more attention and you don't have the same turnover. And then we work with one-on-one individuals and group training. Our outcomes that we measure, I shared a little bit with you already, but it's the capital investment, it's jobs created, jobs retained, new businesses started, and then we track the demographics as well. What we do is we do a lot of strategic planning, business analysis, we do some data research, and then we provide current information to the businesses. We'll really work with the business along any step from startup to buying or selling a business to closing a business. It's really driven all by the business owner's need. But here's some things we don't do. We're not a consultant. That means we don't come in and do the work for them. We come alongside and help them learn how to do that work and manage it for their business. We don't work with nonprofits typically because we're funded through tax dollars. We don't offer tax advice or legal advice, and we don't make loans. What we do is we like to come alongside that business and understand what their goals are, really help them assess what they can do, build some options, and then help them move forward to implement that plan. I'd like to turn the rest of this presentation over to Fawn to let her share a little bit more on what she does for us.
Thank you, Rich. Good evening, Council. Thank you for the opportunity tonight. As Rich shared, my name is Fonzie Bonsai. I'm the Program Manager for Start Zone. I've been with Start Zone since it launched 18 years ago. And what my role is really working with underserved, marginalized businesses that usually fall within the cracks because they feel that they're not equipped, or some feel that they don't even know where to go and get the service. So our team, as you can see, we work with Black-owned businesses. That's Andrew. We have Veronica, who's working with Latino communities, Hispanic communities, and I work with Asian and other communities. So we try to be the face of the communities you see here in South King County to let them know that they have the support. They just need to know where we're at and what we do. So again, Start Zone does the same work as SBDC, but more focused on marginalized and underserved, which are women, minority-owned businesses, and people with disability, and businesses that may have barriers such as language challenges and other issues. So, thank you. I wanted to talk about our digital literacy, which Andrew is going to be teaching on, and I think I may have you talk about this because he does it.
So this started last year with some funding from the City of Federal Way. Andrew Powers was able to develop some curriculum where it integrated AI to writing business plans and working with marketing plans. And we're developing that, or we've taken that and we're continuing to leverage that and refine that, I should say, as well, into a class that's being offered this spring called Launchpad.
Yep, I'll pick up from here. So the class that we're offering is Business Launchpad, which is integrated with the campus accredited classes. So this is a one credit class that participants can use if they need that extra 1 credit towards their degree. But the class is it's no cost to the community. We're going to be covering, of course, the financials, the business plan writing, the marketing, everything to help them create a simple business plan before they meet with an advisor. So did I miss anything, Rich? I hope that I covered everything. And
Yeah.
the class will start in April, I'm sorry.
And just that we're leveraging that AI to implement that. And I think what Andrew has realized from the teaching last year, that he's trying to instruct businesses that they need to do this work on their own, and then you use AI to validate and verify not to do your work for you, because it often is wrong if you approach it from that perspective. So.
And AI is a great tool for immigrant and refugee-owned businesses that have language challenges, because that's always been the fear of the immigrant population, because they don't know where to start, and they don't know how to execute a business plan. So to get them to help them write it, and then bring it to a business advisor, and then we go over with them to refine it and to buff it up and add additional information like the marketing plan and all that stuff. But to get them started, AI is a very useful tool.
And finally, we just wanted to highlight a couple Federal Way businesses that we've worked with. This one is one of Andrew's clients, and they came to us. It's a technology business. They actually came to me, and I brought Andrew in because he knows a lot more about technology than I do. And I'm glad I did, because he was able to help them. They came to us with a request to help them write a grant. It's a SBIR grant, which it works with universities, and they weren't ready yet. But Andrew got them connected to the University of Washington, helped them with a pitch, encouraged them to get into a competition, and they were selected as one of the finalists and were able to earn or get a grant for $12,000. Since then, they've been able to get into to develop that further. And in this conversation, when we asked their approval to use this, they've been approached with an investment of about $100,000 to help move their business forward. So that's the kind of work we do. I wanted to point out that sometimes you'll see us reference businesses with no names, no titles, just the industry. And that's because we don't promote any business by name or individual unless we have a press or PR release from them. So these gentlemen gave us a PR release so we can actually tell their story. And the other one is one of Fawn's clients.
Yes. This is a Pretty Young Chef, and they launched their business about 3 years ago, and I was able to help them secure a grant, which was about $10,000, and I was able to help them secure a small, low-interest loan through the SBRN. So there's a lot of SB starts because it's small business. And that was able to help them to support them with the lease, with the inventory, but that's who they are, and they're here in Federal Way. So please go out and enjoy beer and food at their location, Pretty Young Chef. They're about 2 blocks away from the city hall.
So that's really what we wanted to share today. Again, a little bit about our results last year, who we are, how we work, and then answer any questions if you have them.
All right, so this is just for discussion only. Do we have any committee members that have questions? Seeing none, Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you so much for that report. I do have a couple questions. First, I'm glad that you're using the AI, although it's only as good as what you put into it. So I'm glad to hear that you're teaching that. And I heard you say that the participants get a class credit, so it's part of the business degree at Highline. But my question is, and actually it's kind of a two-part question. What makes you different from the Federal Way Chamber of Commerce, and do you work at all with the Federal Way Chamber of Commerce?
Yes, we do work quite closely with the Chamber of Commerce. Our work is very specific, one-on-one, directly with businesses to meet the needs of that business. The Chamber is really a broader business development program to help foster growth, to bring businesses to the community in partnership with the city. And so they're a much higher level. We're down kind of feet on the street, working one-on-one with businesses. That's the main difference. We are in conversation with the Chamber to hold office hours there once a month, where businesses can come in to the Chamber, and we'd have an office there. Right now, we're on Highline campus. Even when we're in the office, many people still want to meet with us over Zoom, because that's the new method, but it does help when you're in the city as well. So we do work closely with the Chamber. Again, our difference is we're direct one-on-one attention specifically to those businesses.
I want to add to that. So an individual, a business can come to us and bring their financial and say, we need help. We need to identify if their projection or their sales is not meeting their goal, they can come to us and bring those data, and we will sit down with them and dig into it and see where we can help them reshape or restructure their business. So it's things like that businesses come to us referring to meet with us on a one-on-one basis.
So it's
Very tailored, I'm so sorry.
okay, and I'm assuming because it's with the school, it's highly educational as well as.
Well, we hope it's highly educational. We're different than the academic side of the campus.
Okay.
So we're really a program that is self-funded. So
okay.
the campus provides us a facility, and technology support and billing and management on that side of things. But we get funding from the Small Business Development Center that requires a dollar for dollar, at a state level, requires a dollar for dollar match for us to pull those funding down. So when the city provides us some funding, we're able to take that money from the city, go to the SBA, who manages those funds, and get a dollar for dollar match. So it essentially doubles the city's investment in small business. So we're a self-funded program through cities, the port, writing grants. We work with the academic side from the standpoint of they often refer people to us who want to start businesses. We sometimes go in and speak at some classes. This class that we're talking about was designed primarily for our small businesses, but we worked with the college so that it also could be used so they can apply for a credit if they choose to.
And it's also to bring in the real world hands-on. So Highline Academic on campus provides that academic piece, but our program provides, this is what really happens out in the real world. So if, for example, you go to DOL, Department of Licensing, apply for a license, they might not know that. They might not know, but they need someone to sit with them and walk them through these questions. So that's kind of where we come in to provide that hands-on, what actually happens out in the real world.
Thank you so much. That's super helpful, and I totally get that as a college graduate. I mean, it's almost like an internship, you know, you've got to do the hands-on to really know what the heck you're doing.
Exactly.
So thank you so much. That was super helpful.
We actually have an intern working with us right now, and she sits in, joins us on our staff meetings where we're talking about different things in different businesses, and she's like, they never told us about that in class. They didn't tell us about that.
Yeah.
So it is helpful. Each of us as advisors have owned or do own our own businesses, and so we're not coming at it from the academic side. We're coming at it from, yes, I've lived in your shoes,
Lived
and let's see if we
experience.
can figure it out.
Yep. Lived experience.
So we have Councilmember Welch.
Yeah, I just would like to address things for just a minute and maybe help answer Melissa's question. Years ago, as many of you know, I have a small business. Years ago, 15 years ago, Rich and the SBDC were instrumental in helping me start my business. Absolutely instrumental. And spend a lot of hours together, 15, 14, 13, 12, even more recently than that. Haven't done, it's been a few years now, so I really don't have any conflicts of interest anymore. But I can vouch that you ask how it differed from the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is great for networking, but they get down with the nitty-gritty, and whether it's financing, whether it's marketing, whether it's a whole variety of things to help you really figure out what needs to be done, working right beside you. And I have a college degree. I'm reasonably intelligent. At least I hope so anyway. And I cannot imagine what it's like for some of the, especially some of the immigrant community that has language challenges, that may not have the college degree, that's not used to working with the bureaucracy here in the U.S., especially in the state of Washington. I cannot even imagine what it would be like for some of those to try to get their business going. And it's challenging enough for the rest of us. And so the SBDC provides an invaluable resource. Just yesterday, I was talking to a young lady. I was going to refer to you, but she's up on Capitol Hill, so I gave her the contact information for your, I guess, the Broadway SBDC. But I was telling her about it. She said, "What? There's this? It's available? I mean, I've been trying to figure out how to do things, and I mean, this will be great." And so, anyway, they've blessed the lives of a lot of people trying to establish businesses. And so, anyway.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Sessoms.
First of all, thank you very much for your presentation. Both of you were very informative. I am also an alum of Start Zone. In 2010, I was a victim of the massive layoffs happening in the country, the Great Recession. My job as Public Affairs Director for a nonprofit went away like that. And Unemployment Security Department gave me options on what to do, and I decided to enroll in an entrepreneurial course at Highline, which is different from Start Zone. So by day, I went to class and took accounting, marketing, all that, and then by night, I went to Start Zone classes. The only thing that stopped me from becoming and reaching my full potential as an entrepreneur was the requirement that you have to accept the next job that comes along. And so I went back into the workforce. The other thing was seed money and capital and things like that. I had a business plan, I had everything that Start Zone offered. And I would have been a success story had it not been for that state requirement. So my question is, you are reading, or we are all reading about layoffs in the tech industry. Microsoft, 15,000 there, Amazon, 20,000. All of these tech layoffs, are you seeing an uptick in your requests for services from any of these laid off tech workers? I see myself in their position. I would not wish a layoff on anyone. It's a terrible, terrible experience to go through. But if you are laid off, then it makes total sense. Create your own job. Open up your own business. So I believe in that. And I'm wondering if any of those laid off workers that we're seeing in the region have caught the entrepreneurial bug, and are they coming to Start Zone?
Great question. We just had a meeting today about this. Last year, 2025, our unemployment rate was at 4.5. This year is expected to increase to 4.7%. And as you said, Council Member, a lot of this round of layoff are technology, corporate, and finance. So you have individuals that they have skills in finance, management, and basically running a business. So we are preparing, SBDC is thinking about preparing to apply and become a SEAP, Self-Employment Assistance Program approved vendor, and that would help individuals that are receiving UI, unemployment insurance, basically unemployment benefits, so that they can take the entrepreneurship without having to go and search for a job during that period. So we are looking into that, Council.
Yeah, I recall the SEAP program, SEAP.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to get into that, at least back then in 2010. And I would have preferred to go that route, but I was just on the regular UI plan, I guess. And so when a job opportunity did come along, I had to accept it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that I couldn't pursue my dream as an entrepreneur, but hopefully you are awarded or designated as a SEAP site, I guess, Self-Employment Assistance Program. And so that more people are given that opportunity to become entrepreneurs. And once they do, then they can employ other people other than themselves. So it's all about job creation.
It really is. As I mentioned earlier, every time we see economic turmoil or uncertainty, we see a spike in requests for service. And that's what have been seeing the last couple years, probably the last 2 to 3 years anyway. And the thing that we can't do is if someone comes to us and says, we want to be an entrepreneur, what should I do? We can't answer that question for them. They need to come with an idea and a concept, and then we can help them build that out and pursue their dream and their goal.
And I also want to go back to SEAP. We are positioned to support unemployment individuals to go through the SEAP application process. And if we're not one of the vendors, we are working with other vendors that are SEAP approved. So we are collaborating with community partners. So we are well positioned to prepare for the next round of layoffs.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Rich and Han, for your excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait,
Did you
yeah,
have something?
I have my blue light on.
Oh, missed it.
I'm sorry, if you guys can go back to the podium. First of all, thank you for being at the State of the City address. I appreciated seeing you guys there. That was great. And I've actually been enjoying this report because the data is fantastic. I mean, I really, I'm impressed with it. So I only have just two questions. What my first question is looking at this data from first quarter to the final report, 32 businesses advised, total businesses, in actuality, 94 businesses advised. How does that compare to like last year, for example?
Last year, I think we had a few more businesses that fell under the SBDC category. Again, what we do is we do a lot more than I reported as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to break out those businesses that are funded through the general fund. Low and moderate income typically falls under the start zone side of things. But last year, if I recall, I believe we had, I want to say it was in the low 40s last year, 42, something like that. I could get you the specifics, but I don't recall
Yeah.
exactly. It's a little bit lower this last year.
And I wouldn't stress out about it. It's just I kind of want to get a comparison
Yeah.
of what did last year look like, what even the year before looked like. I'm just kind of curious because what you do, obviously, no doubt, is incredibly important. So I think that kind of gets me to the next question, which is you're going to laugh at this, I promise you. Besides money, if I would say what is the one thing you would also ask for in addition to money, what would that be? Because, I mean, I asked that through the, because obviously what you do is incredibly important, and, you know, I want to do whatever we can to support you guys.
Sure.
Because it's important work.
I think one of the main things that those who know us can do is to refer us to the businesses in need, to let them know it's confidential, because a lot of businesses are dealing with problems and issues that they're not, you know, they're ashamed of them. They shouldn't be, but that's human nature. We think we should be doing better than we are. So knowing that it's confidential advising, when they register with us, it binds us to a confidentiality agreement. So it's confidential advising, it's one-on-one. So I think just letting them know and referring them to our center, as Fawn mentioned, if we can't help them, we'll find a resource that can and refer them on.
I think, if I may, Councilmember Kochmar, and with Meredith, and I guess I'll just look to you, Council President, but I think it's something we can put in our social media reels at some point, whenever Ben decides to do that, and promote it, because I don't, maybe I've missed something. I feel like I've watched our social media pretty closely, and it's really has greatly improved. But I just wonder if that's something we can also add, you know, in terms of what they're saying in response to that. It would be something that comes to my mind right away. But I think there's promotional opportunities from our end. And I'm sure we do something already, but I wonder if we can do more of it. So, yeah.
From my point of view, I think a lot of businesses would like to hear from the city. Meredith does a great job to promote us, but it's more security that they're not going to get reported if they ask for help. So how do we convey that to the community? We're really truly here to help, but we're not going to turn your data into ICE, or we're not going to turn your data into, because that's the pushback we're getting from the community, especially refugee and immigrant-owned businesses.
So, actually, that's interesting, because I was kind of swirling in my mind, but since you said that, I mean, how much of the day do you go through that? Do you hear that a lot? Especially residents from Federal Way. I mean, are you hearing it a lot? Is there, maybe actually I should follow up in an email, maybe, because I'd like to get to the inside of that.
Of our advisors, Veronica Ochoa is the one who deals with that the most. And she has a lot of hesitancy from the clients that she serves. So it is mostly the immigrant community, especially Spanish speaking.
Are you able to track like where those coming, or what city they're coming from? Like, I mean, can you track to see if that hesitancy comes from Federal Way folks that want to start a business but have that hesitancy?
We track everybody by city, yes. Whether we could track, if I heard your question correctly, whether we could track their concern about starting a business specifically in Federal Way, we'd have to track that outside the system. Once they become a client, everything is kept in there.
Exactly. That's interesting. So it's interesting because what I'm hearing you say is that you are getting hesitant, people that want to start a business that possibly are coming from Federal Way, but are hesitant because of what's happening in today's world.
And current business owners as well. So it's a mixture of people that want to start a business but are hesitant, and then current business owners that are scared to move forward as well with any assistance because they're scared. We are collecting data and reporting those data, which we are trying to assure the community. We are not doing that. We are truly here simply to help all the businesses.
So you're saying that, and I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, I apologize.
Fawn.
Thank you,
Yep.
thank you. So you're saying that there's perspective, but there's also current business owners that want to continue to move forward. So of that, are there any that are from Federal Way?
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure, yes, because Federal Way, I think Hispanics might be the second highest population, if I recall, in our second or third. And it really, a lot of that is coming from the Latino community, Hispanic community.
And of course, that data is locked. You guys aren't sharing that data. You guys
No,
aren't
of
doing
course not.
anything.
No, we don't.
So, and I'm sure that you and Meredith have talked and fretted about how do we best serve these folks and allow them to follow their dreams, but I'm sure those conversations have happened. I guess, Fawn, I'd love to get your business card and you as well, sir, to follow up on that, because obviously that's of interest to me, and that's concerning. It's sad, quite frankly. So, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now we're moving on to item number E with Meredith. Should the city council authorize staff to apply for the Port of Seattle 2026-2027 Tourism Marketing Support Program?
Yes, thank you very much. So Meredith Neal, Economic Development Director. So the policy question, as you just read, is whether you should authorize staff to apply for the 2026-2027 Port of Seattle Tourism Marketing Support Program. This is a program that the port puts out that is specific just to tourism marketing and is really focused on economic impact for people coming through port facilities. So SeaTac Airport, for example, and then their cruise terminals. So you can apply for up to $20,000. There is a match of 50%. So for every $2 that the port contributes, we would need to have a $1 match of eligible local funding. So the city match commitment at the award request level of $20,000, which is the maximum and what we plan to apply for, would be $10,000. Up to 25% of that $10,000, so $2,500, can be staff time associated with that. We plan to do that match either through the Economic Development General Fund or through LTAC. Our application overview, so within that $20,000 request, the three main areas that we would plan to focus on are first, content creation. So through our tourism marketing efforts over the last year or two, we've started building a photo and video library, and we'd like to keep on building that library of photo and video. So the majority of this is really focused on image production for marketing materials, and getting it ready so that we can continue to show all of the amazing things that we have here in the city. Along with that, there's a section of the budget that would be held for targeted advertising to out-of-state residents. Through some of the work that we've been doing, we now know what our main fly-in markets are, and so we would be doing some marketing specifically to those fly-in markets like Los Angeles, Boise, Idaho, and trying to get them to come here and come visit Federal Way. And then one of the other things, as part of last year's tourism marketing promotion, we tested out a couple of influencer partnerships, and we found those to be a really interesting and unique way to reach other segments of the population, particularly helps to broaden our reachable audiences when you have authentic storytellers who are coming from different communities, different backgrounds. So this past year, we had one who was a food influencer, we had one who was a travel influencer, and one who was kind of in the mom and family influencer sphere. And so each one of them approached the city and what they wanted to do in different ways. So we'd like to continue those efforts as well. So the options are either to forward the proposed request to authorize staff to apply for the Port of Seattle program to the March 3rd consent agenda, or to not do it. The mayor's recommendation is option 1, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Meredith. Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. I like this, Meredith. This is, from my perspective, I feel like this is new stuff. Especially, I'm smiling at the contract with influencers. Last year, was that the first time you've done this?
It was, yep, yeah, through the tourism marketing program that we started in 2025. And so some of the influencer stuff, it all launched in sort of November and December. And so it was very interesting to see the range of it. One of the most fascinating ones is there were a couple of city staff who mentioned that they had seen things and they would show them to me, and it was one of the influencers that we had contracted with. And so, like, they had friends in Seattle or north of Seattle who had sent them stuff saying, hey, we should come and check these things out. Like, I never knew there were so many cool things to do in a day in Federal Way.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because we're getting into the world of, we're diving deeper into the social media world, and we're accepting that, and I like that. So I heard you say that you had 3 different influencer groups that you were targeting, and I hear you also saying that you've obviously heard from other people that have seen it, so that's kind of cool to see their results.
Yep.
Is there anything you would do differently now that you're going to year number 2 potentially with them? And I assume you're going to go with different folks, maybe the same?
Yeah,
I mean,
I would imagine that we would probably choose different influencers and kind of continue to expand that reach. We were looking for people with sort of different influence bases and also with different ethnic backgrounds, and I think we would continue that. This past year, all 3 of them were female. I'd like to see a male influencer included in the next round, for example, and as we kind of continue to reach different types of markets. So I think, should this grant get approved and we have the funding to do this, I think we would sit down and sort of look at some of the different types of demographics that we're trying to reach. And one of the things that's come out of 2025 is that we had a partnership with Datafy, so we have a much better understanding of who's coming here right now,
right.
and sort of trying to figure that out. So one of the things that I plan to do at a future FedRAC meeting, we have ads that are going right now through the first quarter of this year, and when those are done, I plan to come back, probably along with our consultant from last year's program, to kind of give an update of how those ads went, because some of the ads are out through Datafy, so that they can actually track through cell phone data if those people, after we advertise to them, are coming here.
Interesting, and I think, part of the reason why I'm liking this is we got to change the perspective that people have on the perception of Federal Way. And I think this obviously is one, and I think I would encourage that, which you're already doing this, Meredith, but I would obviously look at, what didn't go so well last year with the influencers, and how do we amplify and really improve on those, because this is a really cool idea. Maybe other cities are doing that, I don't know, but I'm very attracted to this, because I think for me, I like hearing new things and new ideas to get Federal Way out there, to change the mindset of getting us away from Felony Way and getting us to we're a really cool destination place. I'm very, very supportive of this. So, thank you.
Council President Honda.
Thank you. So it says hire an intern to assist. I thought we had a hiring freeze on.
Well, so this is a 2-year-long program. So this is funding for both 2026 and 2027. So we'll see at that point. And also, I would imagine, I mean, typically interns are a couple of hours, a couple of days a week. And if it was funded through this grant, we'd explore that. The goal behind that is that right now we have all of these photos that aren't really organized very well. And we have different departments who have been taking photos of different things. And so we thought that if there was an opportunity to bring an intern in who could help with some of sort of the social media and communications piece of it, but also help to just organize all of that and really take an eye to, like, let's create some curated collections so that when somebody says, hey, I'm putting together something, that we can say, great, here are the 50 best pictures of the city right now. Or, oh, I'm looking for this specific type of thing, and sort of organizing them in different ways to find them more easily instead of going digging every time.
So could the intern work for college credit?
I would imagine so, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
This is a concept right now. Once we get funding, we dig into it a little bit more.
Secondly, with Wild Waves, as this is their last season, how will we, or this program, potentially try to work to get more people here to take advantage of that?
Sure. So Wild Waves did apply for a tourism enhancement grant through the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. That grant has arrived now, and so they have kind of a plan for a final year celebration that's season-long. So that will be reviewed by the LTAC committee next week, 2 weeks from now. And then those will be coming before FedRAC at the next FedRAC meeting in March. So I would imagine that it probably would be something that would be supported by LTAC, but certainly we've been having conversations with Wes, who is the communications director for Wild Waves, in talking about what that final season looks like and how, I think a lot of people are going to want the opportunity to come one last time with their family, and how do we expand that to other things. I know he's been working a lot with the hoteliers in the area to put together packages and that type of thing to make it, come stay for a couple of days. And
my last question is, with the influencers, how are those chosen? And what are you looking for in someone who might be an influencer? Would they be family focused? What would their focus be?
Sure. So last year's influencers were chosen partially based on their reach. They were chosen, so like one of the influencers, her handle is Seattle Food Diva, and she was chosen because she has a fairly large following in the Seattle region. She focuses on food. She's Korean American, and had shown that she had been to restaurants in Federal Way before. And so she was selected because she had both a large following and sort of an established foodie following specifically, and that she could speak to some of the Korean restaurants from a more authentic perspective. And she's an Alaska Airlines ambassador and does a number of other things like that. Another one was chosen because she's a regional travel person, and so she does stuff in sort of Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Northern California, and again, had a strong following. And then the third was chosen because she lives here in Federal Way. And interestingly, a lot of her content is sort of mom and family related for the region, but not so much focused on Federal Way. So it was kind of new for her to feature Federal Way, even though she's a resident here. And so she was the one with sort of the smallest of the followings, but had some other things that were very attractive, which is that she has a lot of love for this place, and I think that really came through. I would imagine, for this upcoming year, should we receive this grant, that we would use kind of similar criteria as we look at what other audiences we're looking for, and some of the, who are we attracting right now, and probably somebody along the lines of, somebody who's maybe probably like an older millennial or younger Gen X type of person, somebody who is, in some of the different target demographics, but then also maybe who we're lacking. and who can speak authentically to some of the experiences that we have here. So maybe like a hiker who regularly comes to Dash Point State Park and talking about the things that they do along the way, because we have a lot of people who come for day hikes at Dash Point State Park and are very enthusiastic about all of the food options that they stop at and the shopping along the way.
So a person would apply for this position?
Yeah, we'd have to figure out exactly how we do it, and so that's all to be determined.
All right, thanks.
All right, and any other questions? Councilmember Moore?
Meredith, I'll probably pull you off to the side and connect with you.
Sure.
Where I'm going with my question is, you had mentioned earlier tracking people where they're coming from. What state are they coming from the most?
Well, so our strongest markets are definitely our drive markets. So it's a lot of Washington State. We have a lot of people coming from Spokane. We have a lot of people coming from Marysville, which is kind of an interesting one to me. I still have not figured out that particular correlation. A lot from Portland, Oregon area, some from Vancouver, BC. So we're seeing a lot of those for sort of the drive markets. For the fly-in markets, Boise, Idaho is pretty high on the list. Los Angeles is our highest for fly-in markets. And then we have a number of others sort of sprinkled throughout. It's mostly western states, and so Southwest. So Phoenix is on that list too. So those are our largest fly-in markets.
And that would explain why you're wanting to target them
Yeah,
to come. Okay.
yeah. And partially because part of the port grant is tying it to bringing out-of-state visitors through port facilities. So,
Got it. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, the details will come in later, but yeah, I like this, of course. One last question. Were you happy at the end of the day with the results that came out from the influencers? I mean, I heard you saying you heard other people talking about it, but at the end of the day, when their job was completed, were you happy with the results?
I think, I still haven't seen all of their results, so I've seen 2 of them, and their posts and seen sort of at the front end of it. But I haven't gotten all the back end data yet because, like I said, some of them are still dropping different things right now. And so it's being put out there right now. Certainly, one of them that was sort of a really quick, like, here are like 5 different restaurants in Federal Way to try. That one had over 1,000 comments, I believe. I mean, so a lot of interaction happening with it, where people were liking and sharing and interacting with it and tagging their friends and saying we should go check it out. So certainly I do think, I mean, positive.
And they're sharing their product, what they're doing with you and whatnot. Is it possible that maybe that could be shared with the council too?
Yeah,
Because I'd
and
like to
that's-
see what they're saying.
Yeah,
They're
so
doing.
that's the plan for sort of the end of Q1, once we get all of the final details of all the stuff that's being done right now that was sort of prepared in 2025 and is being completed. So that'll probably be April or May, FedRAC is my guess, to bring sort of those results of how those campaigns did.
You mentioned that earlier, I apologize.
Nope, no
Yeah,
worries.
I think it'd be kind of good for maybe some of this to be added to the city council meeting so the public can kind of hear some of this. But I'll leave it to the council president, yourself, and whoever else. But I'm ready with the motion.
Oh, I have a-
Sorry, go
I have a
ahead.
question.
Yeah, of course. You're the chair.
So, Meredith, I know we're talking about tourism at the moment, but we used to have an economic development video that we would send to businesses that were interested in coming to the area. Did we ever update that, or do we have one anymore?
I'm not aware of a specific video targeted to businesses for business attraction that we're currently using or that's been updated. It's certainly something that we could put together. I think a lot of the other things that we're doing on the Visit Federal Way website, so like there are 3 new videos there that are more about lifestyle and what to expect here. And when I've talked with businesses, especially larger businesses that are looking to move here, one of the main things that they're looking for is really about quality of life. And so a lot of the content that we're putting on the Visit Federal Way website kind of feeds into that.
So I I did have an uncle who had 4 major buildings in downtown Portland. I'm talking about a major billionaire developer. And when I talked to him one time about coming here, he said, "Send me your video." So, back then we were doing it on USB.
Sure.
But, I think it might be something just to look at.
Sure, yeah, we can talk about it.
Thank you. Okay, so moving forward, let's have a motion for approval.
Yes, I move to forward the proposed request to authorize applying for Port of Seattle 2026-2027 Tourism Marketing Support Program to the March 3rd, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Marie.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to item F, which is,
Still me.
Joe, you, should the council accept that? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Meredith. I don't want to
Sure.
repeat.
So this one should be a pretty quick one. So this is coming to you for the acceptance of the 2024 congressionally directed spending for the TC3 site. So the policy question, should the city council accept the 2024 congressionally directed grant in the amount of $850,000 for the Federal Way Downtown Civic and Community Space and authorize the mayor to execute the contract? So the fiscal summary, this is $850,000 in new revenue. There's no city match required, and there's no cost to receive the funds. So this is the congressional delegation request that we put in 2023. And so it was supported by Congressman Adam Smith and Senator Marita Cantwell and got put into the 2024 fiscal year budget. The grant has been awarded to us, and now that we have a plan for what we're going to do that was brought to you at the last Parks meeting, we're ready to actually start that paperwork with HUD to receive that grant.
And so before we move, you're talking about the tent in front of the
Yep.
PAC, correct? Yep.
Yeah, and so this is the concept that we brought with you, to you all, to the Parks Committee in February. The rest of the components of this will be brought back to Parks Committee in March to be reviewed. So right now, the Parks Department staff are working on all of the different parks and pieces after sort of getting a tentative, we like where this is going from council at the February Parks meeting. And so it would include a civic plaza lawn space, an area for food trucks to park, an event building, and some shipping containers that have flip-up doors for vendors in them. And so this would be sort of the temporary activation, semi-permanent activation until construction begins on the TC3 site on this. And One Trent, we had a meeting with them again today, and they are aware of this. They're highly supportive of it. As they work through their process of permitting and everything else, we'll coordinate with them as their project continues, but they have sort of a phased construction of their site. So this is a good use of space in the meantime. And so with that, the options are to forward the proposed acceptance of that congressionally directed spending grant and authorize for the mayor to execute the contract to the March 3rd consent agenda, or to not do that. And the mayor's recommendation is option 1.
Thank you very much, council. Any questions?
I have a question.
Council President Honda.
Thank you. What is the lifespan of this tent?
Well, it's, tent is kind of a misnomer
Okay.
because it is solid-sided. So it actually has hard, clear sides that are more of like a plexiglass type of product. And it could be up, my understanding, so Court Rentals has one of the style that we're looking at right now in their fleet. They've owned it for a number of years and continue to use it. And so it has a many-year lifespan. I think the goal would be with all of these materials that they would be reusable in other city-owned property once they move from this site. So the turf, for example, can be peeled up and relayed perhaps either on one of our fields, or they were also talking about perhaps at the backside of the community center for summer camps and that type of thing. The building could be broken down and reassembled in another location. and the shipping containers can move around as well.
So then the tent, or whatever we want to call it,
Yeah.
what are we going to call it?
Well,
A building?
you know, we've struggled with that because technically they call it a tent. It does have a soft-ish style roof on it. But it is, yeah, we've been calling it an event building because tent makes you think of, you know,
Right.
like a typical white pop-up tent for a weekend.
So it could eventually be moved to do a space so we could do weddings?
Yep, and I know that, you know, parks, as they've been sort of moving down the path of figuring out all of this, are certainly open to all sorts of different types of activation of the building.
So when this is over at the PAC, how are we going to address parking?
I know that there have been discussions with Stacia at the PAC about sort of coordinating and that sort of thing, and I'm sure that they will figure out a plan for the activation of that space and what that looks like. You know, that if there are major events happening at the PAC, maybe they make sure that there aren't other events happening in this event space and vice versa.
So when this property is developed, could this potentially be the building that we want as a community center on that property? For, until we could get the money to
Yeah, I
build
mean, it could potentially, you know, it's not going to be, my guess is for a permanent structure, I think it's a great way to test it out and see what we want. But as far as a fully permanent structure, I think we're probably going to want something that has more heating and air conditioning than this would have the opportunity for. Would probably have bathrooms built in on site instead of either, you know, using the PAC bathrooms or bringing in porta potties for events, those types of things. And so my guess would be that the permanent space, this building might not be the best structure for.
Okay, well, I'm not thinking forever, I'm just thinking
Right.
for the first few years until we could get the funding together.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, that it could go back if, you know, and in some phase of construction, it could go back into that same location if there was a gap in funding and construction of the permanent space.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Councilmember Moore?
Thank you. This is interesting to consider and everything. So I see the rendering. So I'm to believe that there's going to be food trucks there, as I see, as you've talked about. There's going to be grass there?
Yeah, so it's going to be turf.
Turf.
Yeah, so
I
it'll
missed that.
be synthetic turf with an underlayment underneath it.
So could this, I mean, I know there can be, I know there's been talk about a lot of ideas with this space and how it can be used, and I know it's fairly universal. You can use it for just about anything. But are we thinking this is where the moving the park is going to kind of go?
It is very possible, you know, if this all moves forward. I know the Parks Department, you know, they had one of their all-department meetings where they asked all the staff, like, what could we do with this space? And they generated a lot of ideas, and so I know that they're working through what that could look like. But certainly, you know, movies in the parks, concerts, that type of thing, this might be a good venue for. And it is being designed in such a way that you could sort of set it up for some of those types of uses.
Okay. And then I heard you say there's going to be permanent bathrooms placed there.
In the final build-out and design. So at this point, there will not be permanent bathrooms. There won't be plumbing inside this building. Think of it as like a big empty space that will have tables and chairs that could be set up in there. But there would be temporary bathrooms, porta potties, and that type of thing that would be brought in for smaller events.
I see. Okay. You're talking about at the end of the day.
Yes, so after
The permanent
this whole
permit.
site is redeveloped and
Of
there's a
course there'll
new
be bathrooms.
permanent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, that took care of that. I guess my other desire is I've been talking about skating rink,
Ice or roller,
temporary.
like a temporary ice skating rink? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
So we've heard reasons why we can't do it down there at Town Square Park, but I wonder if that's been discussed as a possibility to, you know, after the tree lighting, to do something there.
Sure.
And, you know, I mean, there's, like you said, there's possibilities, right? And have the pack be available for holiday stuff, and then people can go out and, anyway, it's just an idea.
Yes.
I'm getting to the details, that's not my purview.
Yeah,
but
I think Councilmember Kochmar, Chair Kochmar brought that up the last time Autumn
It-
presented this,
It
so.
sounds like a lot of people are bringing it up.
Yep.
So, yeah, just something that kind of comes to my mind. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Seeing none, no other questions. One other question I have, I'm worried about security at night, whether this is going to be vandalized, because it'll be quiet and dark at night. Have we addressed that issue?
There have been discussions, both with the police department as far as their patrols and also with the Performing Arts and Event Center, since they have sort of additional security and figuring out what that will look like. So it certainly has been a discussion, and as the details are getting worked out, definitely will be something that's top of mind. You know, Parks has a lot of other facilities and certainly is very well aware of some of the issues with vandalism and other things. And so I think are trying to design this to be as, you know, as easy as possible to manage and to keep it clean and looking nice and not being a sort of an attraction of certain types of uses we might not want to see.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Walsh, do you have a motion?
I have a motion. I move to forward the proposed acceptance of the $850,000 2024 Congressional Directed Spending Grant and Authorization for the mayor to execute contract to the March 3, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much, Meredith.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're moving on to item G. And Mr. Smith, you're going to talk about computers.
Yes. Good evening, Ken Smith with the Public Works Department. I'm here for authorization to acquire computer equipment for integration of Sound Transit security cameras. Policy question is, should the council authorize staff to acquire computer equipment for the integration of Sound Transit security cameras within Federal Way? Little background. Additional IT infrastructure is required to allow the city camera network to integrate with newly installed Sound Transit security cameras. This access will allow operational emergency services to view these cameras that are presently there within the city system that we use. The cost is included within the approved budget under the city services agreement between the city and Sound Transit. Just a quick financial summary. It's around $95,000 for the equipment based on the current estimate. And the options considered, option one, authorize staff to acquire computer equipment for the integration of Sound Transit security cameras within Federal Way, or option two, do not authorize and provide direction to staff. Mayor recommends option one, and I'll answer any questions.
I see Councilmember Hamilton.
Hello, thank you for that. I just wanted to ask a clarifying question. This is to integrate with our Safe City cameras system, or?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Council President.
So it'll be funded through account 306. When this is paid for, will there be any funding left in that account?
I believe so. The remaining funds are authorized to be used for camera systems. So this is related to that, and it allows us access to all these additional cameras. The remaining funds we can use to purchase other equipment.
I would like to get an amount, but not tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you. How many computers are we talking about? Two? One?
It's a server.
It's a
Essentially
server.
Just one server.
Got it. I just want to get more
And a
details. What
firewall, sorry. One server and a firewall.
One server and a firewall. So, okay. Got it. And so other cities have had to do this too, and they've had to fund that themselves. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I would think so too. I just want to confirm. So am I crazy to think
Yes.
that maybe Sound Transit would fund this? I mean, I assume it's a kind of a crazy statement for me to make, but.
Effectively, they are. The funds are coming from Sound Transit for staff time, and the additional is what was left over from Sound Transit funding.
Right, and they've, yes, okay.
So while we're purchasing it, the funds that we're utilizing are from remaining funds from Sound Transit
Oh,
to fund staff time.
but to fund staff time, but it's our funds that's funding the computers, the server.
It's effectively Sound Transit funds.
Oh, Sound Transit funds. Okay. So Sound Transit is really funding this $94,000.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think that clarifies quite a bit, actually, for me. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I see no other questions. Councilmember Walsh?
I move to forward option 1 to the March 3, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, moving forward, we are now to the vouchers. Mr. Groom.
Okay, now we come to the finance portion. Program. Thank you. In your packet, as usual, we have all of the vouchers that were dispersed during the month of January, and the total is a whopping $10 million, and this is the beginning of the year. And there are three categories that take up, that comprise more than 50% of the entire spending for the month. We paid our 2026 insurance premiums. That is for the entire year of 2026. We pay them first thing in January. It's one of our big outlays every January. As usual, we are spending down on the maintenance and operations facility construction. We spent $1.1 million. That's restricted funds coming from bond proceeds. And the police department had ordered 16 of their police vehicles. We had budgeted 16. Actually, they requested 18, but as part of the budget balancing that we did for our the current biennium we're in, we budgeted, we were able to balance the budget with 16 vehicles for police. They purchased those. And so those three things take up half of the $10 million. It's still cash out the door that hurts me deeply, but it was budgeted. So in the month of January, of course, we also have, now how do I get rid of that little, I'll be darned, I cannot figure out how to get rid of that little window down there. I'll just persevere. Our payroll is very similar. It's very steady. Our payroll vouchers are pretty even. The only months that they go up is when we have payroll taxes, and this was a non-payroll tax month. So, as always, we put the voucher register in the package with everything that we have dispersed. Questions that are emailed to us, we answer with replies to the FedRec committee, so you see those go by. I realize you reserve the right to ask more questions if you think up more. We're always available to field those questions. We will farm them out to the other departments if some of the questions are more operational in nature than financial. And that's all I've got. Request your approval to approve the disbursements.
Thank you, Steve. I see Councilmember Hamilton.
Yes, thank you, Steve, for that. I do have a question, and you might need to get back to me on it, but I'll go ahead and ask it. I did see on here charges for the police department range use, and, but I don't see, I'm pretty sure they're not dry firing over there. So I don't see any line items, though, for the ammunition. So what's happening there?
I do not remember. That question has come up before. You'd think I would remember the answer, and I don't.
Okay. I would really like to know how the ammunition is getting paid for.
Sure,
Okay.
happy to.
Steve, can you include the council on that as well?
Council President Honda.
Thank you. Thank you for answering the questions to my vouchers. And you know, Sunday night is just my night to do vouchers, no matter what week you send them to me. I do have a question. When I asked about the 16 police cars, I asked if every officer who is allowed to have a take-home police car has one. And I didn't get an answer to that.
I forwarded that question to Commander Buchanan. I will follow that up and get that for you. In finance, I don't know the answer.
All
I
right,
want to guess, but I won't.
all right, I would appreciate that.
Sure, be happy to.
And then just a comment. The way our budget works, you have to spend your budget, by the end of December. And what I noticed, there was a lot of things, like in clothing that was purchased. More so than other months for December. And it's frustrating because just because it's in the budget doesn't mean it has to be spent. And I would like that message to go to all of our departments, including the council. Just because you have so much money left in your budget for 2026 doesn't mean in December you have to rush out and spend it all. Just a concern.
That sounds like a philosophy, and I think that what we have been conveying to all of our departments is we're all aware that our revenues have not been coming in. But from finance, what we see, every invoice that comes, and you can see with the number of pages in the voucher register, we process a lot of vouchers. What we make sure that we have is that they're coded and approved by department managers. Currently, during the months of January and February, we processed 2025 vouchers in one batch and 2026 vouchers in the next. So we're trying to make sure that we get the vouchers that are dated in the correct fiscal year, coded and charged to the right budget years. We rely on the department managers to stay within their budgets, and whether or not they're adopting a philosophy of use it or lose it, I wouldn't say, but I think as a management team, we're very aware that we need to be judicious.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank
sure.
you.
Oh, I see no other questions. Do I have a motion?
I move to forward the vouchers to the March 3, 2026 consent agenda for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much. And Steve, we're now at the final item. Is that correct? Item I, financial report.
Thank you. I will learn to use the meeting controls in a Zoom meeting. I swear I will. Thank you. If you were to look at the monthly financial reports, towards the end of a fiscal year or at the beginning of a fiscal year, we share your frustration because, as you know, we receive some revenues on a 1-month lag, some revenues on a 2-month lag, and the same is true for invoices. So it's during this period of time where we can show you a graph that's got a single dot for January, or we can show you a 12-month dot that's got all 12 months. And what we really want to do, we're going to be facing the biennial budget coming up. And so what I want to do is present to you what is most useful to present a background and a foundation so that you feel like you have a strong sense of what's going on with the local economy and the finances of the city. So it's with that in mind that during this difficult time of we don't have much information for the current year, and we're still working on closing out the last year. We're committed to transparency. We'll give you what we got. Sales tax, we got the final remittance for 2025, and it doesn't tell us anything you probably didn't already know, because over the last several months, sales tax has been coming in better than prior year, but a little bit under budget. We finished the year with a $1.2 million unfavorable variance to budget. Now, it was 2% over prior year, and so that's kind of good. I show the blue graph on the left. That's every one of the prior years, a full 12 months. And you can see that it was just a touch up from 2024. If we look month by month by month, we have got 9 out of 12 months that are up. So we had, I can't say that there was a single spike. There wasn't anything that's particularly seasonal. We are consistently having our local economy, our retail base, be 2% over what it was doing last year. We had budgeted 4%. So that's, we know that the economy is cyclical. A lot of economic things in the world are cyclical. I'm feeling like they're a little bit depressed or suppressed. I don't know what the correct word is. But we have to drive around, look at our local retail centers, and we look at the parking lots, and we're encouraged. We see Rite Aid closing, and we see another store take its place. We see other stores closing. But overall, in the aggregate, we're seeing that our retail sales are 2% over prior year. Now, utility tax revenue has been substantially stronger. It's been favorable to budget. It's been much higher than prior year. We did have that one-time track phone settlement of $1 million. Even without that, we still end up being $1 million ahead of what we were prior year. So utility usage is much more predictable. It's much more stable. So that will be easier to forecast. Property tax revenue, we did get our December remittance. However, in the next couple of months, there could be some adjustments. However, we always see that this comes within a couple $100,000 of budget, and it did. So no surprise there. Real estate excise tax, we got all 12 months in, and that has just been down, as you can see from the chart on the left, showing all 12 months of each of the prior years by comparison. It's up just a little bit from 2024. And because we know that the assessed value has been stable at the city, we know that the reason that this is down is the pace of the transactions, and we again attribute that to if you know a realtor, they will tell you that the volume is down. It's not the underlying price of the properties. Our permit fee revenue had a strong December. We finished just a touch unfavorable to budget, but quite a bit over prior year. And there is very little seasonality to this one. It has to do with the underlying projects. So this, I'm committed to transparency and accountability. I'm a little bit at a loss for words to how to explain it. However, this shows us what the permit activity is in our city, and it's still, better than last year. It's an improvement. 17% substantial. I should have pointed out the scale of each of the graphs. We started at 20 million for sales tax, 12 million for property tax, and 5 million for whatever the next one was. This is very small. This is only $350,000. However, it's another economic indicator. It does show that we are just a touch over prior year. We're a touch over budget. And our lodging tax fund, it's restricted for several uses that have to go through Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, and they have a substantial fund balance. So this is a positive. Interest revenue, this one is a disappointment. I'm showing you a graph that's got just one single dot there at the beginning. I've circled it in red so you can find it. Our January interest revenue is unfavorable to budget, and it's under prior year. And the reason that is because our cash took quite a dip. You saw our disbursements were $10 million. We know that our REIT revenue is down. We know that our sales tax is down. We paid our 2026 insurance, which was $3.7 million. We had budgeted last year the sale of the TC3 property, the old Target building. And we had $967,000 in vehicle purchases. That's just the big pieces. There's little things like membership dues that gets paid in January as well. So I say that to say, I grit my teeth. We pay all of the one-time things that we do in January, and then we watch for the trajectory for the rest of the year. We do not have all of those same disbursements throughout the rest of the year. But the fact that our cash balance has gone down means that our interest revenue was down in January. Speaking of our cash balance, I show this. This has become, I started this graph when I started my job back in 2021. The red bars are showing that we have almost paid down the proceeds of the bond that we used for our maintenance and operations facility. The green is what we have on deposit with the state treasurer. We can get it next day. It earns just about the same as our invested bonds, but it's variable. The yellow bars are what we keep in checking, and the blue bars, you can see, we ramped up our long-term investments, but we've been bringing them down a little bit. And so what we're doing is we're keeping just enough in our checking to cover our outstanding payroll and accounts payable. We're keeping enough in liquidity just because that's to make sure that we never have to sell a bond at a loss unexpectedly because of whatever cash flow needs we have. And then we're monitoring our bond proceeds. The dotted red line across there is showing that we are just about down to the cash level that we used to have before ARPA and bond proceeds. So I would call that getting back to normal, if you will. So we're managing our liquidity and our safety and then investing. What it shows is the green and the yellow is really small, because your question might be, are we investing everything we possibly can? And this shows that we are. Debt service. I think I showed this table or one very similar to it last year. Our 2020, see now I should have changed the title. This is our 2026 debt service. I have it sorted by month, how much we pay in February. We have some interest-only payments in June. We've got one that has some principal in July. And then primarily our biggest payments don't happen until December, and that's where we have principal and interest. Now, I think one of our questions last month was which ones are callable. So I list the same exact debt issues here. I've got the Performing Arts Center, the Community Center, the HUD loan, the SCORE jail, and then the M&O facility. And I've highlighted in yellow the years that are callable. The white ones is non-callable. So we will be paying off the Performing Arts Center in 2029. The red arrow from 2033 shows that we will be paying off the Community Center in 2033. Now, that bond is callable now. We could call it at any time and pay it off. We could refinance it. However, the rates currently are not favorable. The HUD loan is never callable. We can never refinance that one. The SCORE jail will be refinanceable in 2029, and then the maintenance facility has got a 10-year before we can do anything with that, and it will be paid off in 2049. So I'm committed to building a foundation with you. In a budget year, I want to give you bite-sized information every time we have a FedRAC meeting. The first quarter plan, as we navigate 2026, my team is working on closing out 2025. What does that mean? That means during January and February, we're looking at all the revenues coming in. We're coming in tracking all the last invoices. And then we have to do all the audit accruals with all the government accounting standards, because we have to do modified accrual, and then we have to do full accrual for some things. So that keeps us getting ready for the auditors. Bottom line for you is we have until about May 1st before we have to get the auditors all of our financials, and then they go look at them, and it'll be a couple more months after that before you ever see how did we actually do with the auditor's seal of approval, their opinion letter on our 2025. We don't expect any changes from what we've been presenting. We've been giving you revenues and expenses monthly. We have started working on forecasting our 2026 revenue with a mind towards 27 and 28. We have been talking to all the departments about their expenses. Brian Davis and the mayor and I, we've been looking at what do we have as we navigate the current year? Because remember, we're still looking with concern at our sales tax and our REIT. And if I made a list of all the little levers we could pull, or the options, or the things that we could think of, or the brainstorming ideas, how do we manage during time when we're monitoring our revenue? And I want to assure you that we have quite a few things that we do think about. First off, we monitor revenue monthly. I bring it to you. I graph it. Everybody is always aware. As soon as we get every major revenue, as soon as we receive it, we update the graphs. We look at how we're doing compared to prior year and how we're doing to budget. Now, any new requests, it's really important that I capture, I genuinely, both to you and to our department heads, genuinely want to know, what do you think of, what are you aware of that isn't in our budget? Even if we don't have money, because when we go to do our 27-28 budget, we want to know, are we thinking of everything? When we budget as much revenue as we realistically think we're going to get, are we prioritizing the top priority things? Not that we have a whole lot of wiggle room, because so much of our budget is already existing obligations, taking care of the infrastructure and the staffing services that we have. We look for, what do we have that it might be discretionary spending? There's not much, but we ask, and we are always keeping our radar up for anything that we can defer or press pause on. Anything that can be pushed off to the following year, should it be something that will help us navigate the current year. We also look at inter-fund dependencies. Usually we look at just the general fund as the main fund that we do all of our services. But keep in mind, if we could save a few bucks at the community center or the performing arts center, the general fund could reduce its subsidy. There's a lot of funding that goes on in nearly every fund that we have in the city, fleet or the computer equipment or all the different funds that are related to general fund, if we can increase or decrease the funding of things. So we look citywide, and that's what we're doing. Lastly, we look at alternative uses of restricted revenues, and by that you can think of, 2 years ago we started using lodging tax to help fund the Performing Arts Center because it's one of the eligible uses. Another use could be using lodging tax for ball fields that are used for tournaments that generate hotel stays. Any restricted fund that we can utilize intelligently that'll help the entire city, to juggle just a little bit. So this is the list of things that we keep in mind as we're having our conversations internally as we manage 2026. Now, as we look forward to the 27-28 biennial budget, the philosophy is that we want to have a budget that's realistic, attainable, and factors into what we know. We don't want to be really optimistic and push our forecast up high for sales tax, because then what are we doing? Then we're authorizing spending against revenue that might not come in. So our current biennial budget, it's our baseline. There isn't a single realistic way that we can stop everything and start doing zero-based budgeting, because we've got obligations with the staff that provides current services. We've got police cars, public works vehicles that have to be replaced on a perpetual basis. So our existing budget is our baseline, but what we're looking for is what might be in play. Not much, but we want to identify it. We use for forecasting, we use our current actuals, and that's both with expense and revenues. But we're also vigilant for what's changing. What do we have to react to? Because I'll tell you, every time we adopt a budget, I joke that as soon as we adopt the budget, it's already obsolete because some problem has occurred somewhere that we're going to have to course correct. The challenges that we know about. Inflation, it's 20, prices are 21% higher than they were 5 years ago. Sales tax has been consistently up only 2%, which has not been keeping up with inflation. And then real estate excise tax, of course, has been depressed for years. Inflation, for 32 months, it's been less than 4%. For 20 months, it's been 3% or less. So that seems, I want to say predictable and forecastable, but we have to ask ourselves, do we think it'll stay that way? Because nothing stays forever. It's always cyclical, right? So we have to be very cautious and conservative in our budgeting. I mentioned property tax a few minutes ago. The one thing I can tell you as we go in, as we start thinking about the 27-28 budget, we, every year, the King County assessor assesses our property value. And the last, I think in November, they just certified in February, our property tax value citywide went up 3%. Our total value, in case you wanted to have it for conversation, it's $18 billion, billion with a B. Now, property tax, our revenue on that is capped at 1%. So the dark blue graph at the top shows that our property tax values have increased at a very healthy rate, much higher than our actual property tax revenue into the city. That's capped at 1%. And so that means that the resulting property tax rate, see, I don't know how I can move that little black, I don't know how to move that. Okay. Our property tax rate decreased from 68 cents to 67 cents. 10 years ago, our property tax revenue in the city budget was $10 million. Today, it's $12 million. The rate has dropped. Now, that graph at the bottom where it says tax rate, I've got the scale going all the way up to $2.40 because the maximum allowable tax rate that we could levy is $2.36. Now, we would have to go to the voters to increase that. That would be a levy lid left. But there's quite a large ceiling there between the $12 million that we're actually collecting per year and the $44 million that is available were we to go to the voters. That's one of the reasons that we have a really pretty good credit rating. We have a AA2 credit rating. We have a strong tax base were we to go to the voters and access it. And the last thing about property tax is you all talk to your constituents and they may express concern about the total of their property tax. And we offer up this graphic in every budget we do because the school district is the biggest chunk of their property tax bill. It's almost a third. After that is the state, after that is the county, after that is the fire district. And then our portion is about 7%. That's that little green arrow. So our little portion matters. That's the amount that we have the discretion to have any decision-making over. Okay, so I wanted to give you a current update on on how we finished the revenue picture for last year, and I wanted to start building a foundation towards our budget. And as this year plays out, we'll continue to keep you informed every single month on how we're doing. That's what I have.
All right. We'll go with the committee first. Councilmember Walsh?
Yeah, Steve, on the property tax, it seems like it's the most predictable.
It is.
Yet it was 2% unfavorable to budget. Why was that when it is so predictable? Why was it, it seems like it should have been right on budget. What was wrong with the budget prediction?
Because they levy exactly what they said they were going to levy, and there are some payments that don't come in on time. There could be some that we don't collect until the property sells and the county puts a lien on it. It's just always timing. And plus, there's a little bit of a trickle that still, I think, can come into attributable to last year.
But wouldn't have that been, shouldn't have
And it
last
should be
year?
the same
could
year
have
to
been-
year.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm calling it rounding. I just am, yeah.
Already.
But the truthful answer is it's timing. If everybody paid exactly on time in April and May and October, September, October, whatever, it would come in exactly, but they don't. There's a few that don't.
Okay, all right.
Ultimately, it will be collectible when the property sells and it's,
Thank you. Councilmember Moore?
Thank you. Well, it's interesting, Steve, because I was on the city council from 2013 to 2021, and now I'm back, and I think this is, if my memory serves me right, this is the first time that we're kind of coming to a impasse of maybe a hardship, a challenging times, maybe is a better way to say it.
sure, since the recession of 2008, it's been, we're in a downturn. You look at the REIT revenue and we're delaying projects. That's not normal for this city.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm an optimist. I try to be positive when I can be. And help me out here, because I need to go back to the PowerPoint, but I couldn't tell you which slide, but I think you pointed to the sales tax is a smidge better than last month, but that's about it.
Yes. Utility tax is the strongest one, but sales tax is the disappointment.
Right, but a smidge better than
Right.
last month.
Yes.
Any hopes that you think that could be, the same for the next month?
One thing I know is I will be 100% wrong. It's a crystal ball. We talk to people nationally, we talk to people in the state. Why is sales tax down right now? Is it inflation? Is it people that don't have discretionary spending to go shopping? Is there unemployment? There's so many factors.
Well, and it's interesting you said, because Fedway seems to be doing a little bit better
Yes.
than other places.
Sure. Some cities have the luxury of having a lot of car dealerships.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, do they get sales tax in the good years? But in the bad years, oh, my goodness, their budget suffers. So we have to try to think as smoothly and to how to limit our volatility. And the best thing that we can do is build up our reserves when we can and then draw upon them like we did last year.
Yeah, and I think, I am pleased to see that we're gonna use what's happening right now
Yeah.
to build the next 2-year budget, is what I'm understanding you saying.
Sure, the best predictor of the future is what we know about the current.
Right, and obviously with the current being, that we're
Yes.
kind of in a difficult period of time.
Yes.
That'll allow us to be more conservative.
Yes.
With our numbers moving forward, and whatnot, so I was pleased to hear that. Here's, you and I have talked a little bit about this, and I appreciate Councilmember Coachmar saying this at one of the recent meetings, but this is the city council budget that we're going to end up passing. It's not the mayor's budget, it's the city council's budget. The mayor will introduce his own version, I think, and then we're going to fret about it, or talk about it, discuss it. Maybe
He'll
it's a
bring you a balanced budget, then you'll tweak it
So at the end of the day, with our vote, it becomes the city budget.
with your authority, absolutely.
Yes, and so one of the things, I'm just going to keep saying this, I think, now that I'm a member of this committee, is, and you alluded to this in your presentation, and I really appreciate it, which is, what is our desire that we want to get see funded? And let's work with that as well. And you and I have had conversations as to why I've stated that over and over and over. And I just, I think one of the things I worry about is, and I'm only going to speak for myself, and that's, I know that there's some things that I would like to see funded. And I certainly hope that we're not going to get into a position where in November, we're debating about it. If that makes any sense. So
Sure.
as right now, we're still early. I know that March, April, May is when we're going to start that process. But I really urge that we in this committee have a discussion, however way that looks. I'll hand it over that part to the chair and you, but I think that's really, really important. And I think that's more of a statement, I guess. And my last question really is, and it's interesting what Council President said earlier, which is, people are, that's for December, actually. People were quick to spend their money down in the budget allotted, which is their right, but I can certainly understand what Council President Honda is saying. Are there any unused funds right now that
I can tell you with a straight face, every penny is spoken for. And that's true all the time. It's true when we adopt the budget, and it's true as we go forward and course correct. And in fact, I'd like to expand a little bit on what you said, because you want to make sure that you have a say in what gets added to the budget. And I want to expand that and say, by the time we get to June or July, I hope you are so familiar with the monthly revenues, the big pieces, that they're familiar to you, and so you can judge for yourself whether we're being too optimistic, too pessimistic from a funding standpoint, and whether you think that the city is on a trajectory of optimism or pessimism, what have you. Because every budget need, whatever you're thinking about, let's capture it, put it on our wait list, for that's the best word. I don't want to call it a wish list, because it's just waiting for funding. But we want to have everything that you have, and you have an opportunity for you to discuss what are the priorities, so that when we have funding, because in the last 4 years, I've seen quarters where we brought better than budgeted revenue. We were able to green light some things. So we want to be looking at revenues as early as now, so that when we get to June or July, you've got a strong sense of where sales tax, utility tax, property tax, all that is going. For the most part, we have got very little opportunity to add anything. We're actually looking at, as I mentioned, we're talking internally about what's discretionary that we can press pause on or defer. But we don't want to neglect anything.
Right. I mean, and what I'm hearing you say is, give me what you want for, and I'll add it to the list, but chances are it's not going to get funded, is what I'm kind of hearing. And I think, in this next 2-year budget that we're about to debate and discuss,
Yeah.
I mean, again, only for myself, I want to be able to say, sure, this is a difficult budget, and some things were funded.
Yeah.
And I feel good about that. But ultimately, we had to make difficult choices, right? I don't want to be in a position of saying, okay, well, this is not, I don't see a reflection of my desires in here. And again, I know that there's 6 other council members here, but I'm only speaking for myself. So that, again, that's a conversation we can take offline as well.
Oh, no, it'll be very public, and every 400 employees of the city are holding their breath as well and join you. So it's a team effort.
I like how you spend that, Steve. Thank you. Yeah, and the only reason why I was asking about the unused funds is quarterly, and again, I've been trying to jog my memory here, but I believe the FedRAC committee reviews any unspent dollars that were allocated and that were unspent, and then I think there seems to be a new, and again, I may be totally wrong, but,
No,
and there's a reallocation of those dollars.
we bring budget amendments approximately
A
quarterly.
budget amendments, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So with that, when's the next budget amendment, and do we have, for that budget amendment, are there likely unspent dollars? That was my question, and that's it.
We close the books on March by about April 15th, and so about the April FedRAC, I would expect. And departments have been sending us things that need to be in the next budget amendment, and you all have been approving things that need to be recognized in the budget. For example, grants that we didn't budget that now are real. We can add those to the budget and the associated spending. So we try to do that quarterly.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Hamilton?
Thank you, Steve, for that report. I just had a few comments. So I know that in the state legislature, there's always a lot of talk about that levy lid lift with the property taxes. I'll just say philosophically, I don't like that idea. I feel like property tax, homeowners kind of treated like a giant piggy bank too often by the government. But I do want to assure you that I am looking into revenue streams, and one of the streams I'm looking into is what's afforded to us with House Bill 2015. And that's the public safety grant money. I've been having a lot of conversations with Police Chief Andy Wong and Mayor Jim Farrell, and I believe we just got an email saying that we are applying for that grant.
I believe
So
so.
that should help.
I believe
And
so.
with public safety being our paramount duty, I'm very interested in making sure that public safety is funded for sure. So I just wanted to let you know that, and there's actually 2 revenue streams with that grant. There's the sales tax revenue stream, and then there's the 100 million grant. So I'm definitely looking into both of those, rest assured.
And permit me to clarify, in no way am I advocating for a levy lid lift. I feel it's my responsibility to inform you of the facts of what we currently have and what the ceiling is and all that, just so that you have the knowledge. Not advocating or recommending. And on grants like that, the one that's being applied for, the funding streams, we don't budget them when we apply for them, we budget them when we get them. That way our budget isn't built on a house of cards.
Right. Well, hopefully we
So
can make something happen there.
Thank you, Val. That helps calibrate, making sure that we're in sync here. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to work with
Yes.
council to get maybe like a study session or something, so we can all get up to speed on what House Bill 2015
Good.
can offer.
Thank you.
Council President Honda?
Thank you. So I want to talk about the farmer's market. I think back in August, we had a preliminary financial report on the farmer's market, and we haven't had much since then. It ended in October, and we're already planning for the next year. So what I would like to see is a report on the farmer's market of 2025, what went well, what didn't go well, what our expenses were, what the income was, and I would really like to see what our staff, what it cost for our staff to be there, because that would be a big expense for the farmer's market that Rose and Dave didn't have, but it's an expense that we will have. Also, excuse me, a report on the Taste of Federal Way. In working with Rose in the past, you know, within a couple weeks, she would tell us what they brought in and what the expenses were. We still haven't heard about that. And it's not the first time I've asked, and it won't be the last time I'm asking for it. But I really think this council needs to have regular reports on the farmer's market. And going forward, I would like to see a page in the financial report on the farmer's market, so that every month we have a report on this and we're not waiting forever to find out how we're doing. I don't anticipate making money on the farmer's market, but we do need to know where we stand on how it did last year and monitor it for 2026.
We've actually been having weekly meetings on farmers market, and I would love to dodge that question and say, oh, the operational folks need to come give that to you, but you know what, for 2026, it needs a budget. It's not in the budget for 2026. So the management of farmers market is transitioning from Bill Vadino over to Parks Department, and so Autumn and Jason and John Hutton and all that, we recognize that we need to bring a budget with their operational plan together. And we had talked about bringing it to the February FedRec, and we missed that, so.
Well, let's hope we get it before May,
well,
when the farmer's market starts
Right.
again.
And we've been a little bit surprised at the timing of some of the revenues. I think we do have all of the revenues from Taste of Federal Way. That was the fundraising event, but the invoicing for the SNAP match, last year was our first year running it as a city, so we've been humbled on how to learn how to account for it.
And the senior commission spoke last week or 2 weeks ago about the vouchers for the seniors and having that program again, and concerned that Virginia Mason may not be able to participate this year in their portion of those grants or those vouchers. So the sooner we can find out about that, the better. I can tell you I was there every Saturday except one, handing out those vouchers, and the $10 is a big deal to the seniors who use
Sure,
it,
we
a
wanna
big
make sure-
deal. They lined up an hour before in the rain and the cold, I can't say the sun because we didn't really have that much sun, but they were there lining up early, very early, so that they could get one of the vouchers.
Yes, so we want to be able to budget how much we're going to be getting in for the sponsorships and accounting for how it gets spent, yeah.
It was one of the best things I think we did at the farmer's market last year. And of course, we have the vouchers for the children, 5 and under too. But this-
Yes, children and seniors.
Right, but the senior vouchers are extremely important, hoping that we can continue those. On the fund activity summary, I have the 2025 report from this very month and the report from this month. And I have some concerns about that. I'll go with the traffic safety fund. It's on page 125 if anyone wants to follow. So there's year-to-date, there's quite a loss on the traffic safety fund. Much more than, there was a loss last year, but this is much more than last year. Is there an explanation for that?
We are working on the final accruals for the year, so this isn't final, because we share your same concerns. Anything that has a negative number or it's under the fund balance. This is straight off of our system where we're currently
Okay.
at. It's a snapshot of where we're at.
Arterial street, there's, from last year, The ending balance, 12/31/2024, was 866,722. This year, it's 145,569. Is there a reason for that?
I think it's probably because REIT has been down, and so we've been juggling to get to how to fund different projects that are available for the different funding. I think that's what it is.
Okay. The next one would be the Federal Way Community Center. Last year,
Yeah, that one's actually under the reserve
Yes.
balance. Yeah.
it's pretty significantly different from last year.
Yep.
And the reason being, if you don't know, that's fine. I
Yeah,
can certainly understand that. I'm just, if you do know, that would be awesome.
I have an incomplete answer, so let me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my
me
iPad
follow
just
that up on
decided not
email,
to
sure.
work. Then, well, real estate act, yeah, we all know about that one. Prop 1 utility tax. So last year, the ending fund was 852,821, and this year it's 269,821.
Yeah, and I think because because Fund 103 utility tax helps that fund, we haven't got our final accounting done for that to rebalance those two.
Performing Arts and Event Center operations. 377,401 last year, and now it's negative
Looking-
491,427.
Yeah, I don't remember what we're waiting on for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Then the jail fund. Last year, it was negative 845,357. This year, 1,987,281.
Yeah, and that's also, we're waiting for the utility tax portion to rebalance that one.
So I would just say, if you look at the ending fund balances of all of these, the totals of all of them, they're all lower than last year.
Now, keep in mind, when you look at the total, that we've spent $53 million or $50 million for the maintenance and operations facility. So the drop, while it does look drastic, the biggest chunk is that.
Okay.
So,
Which we'll have going forward.
yes, yes.
So that's something we need to account for going
Yes.
forward.
Yes. Yeah, because we look at this and we have an initial heart attack too before we start going through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that forward because it is a little concerning.
Sure.
I don't know what the answer is, except to grow money in your office, but,
This is what we do. We juggle and but thank you for asking. We will get you solid answers.
okay, I appreciate that.
That's what we do, yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
Sure.
Can't be an easy job.
All the parts of the body working together. I ask other departments questions that I don't know, so.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We have Councilmember Sessoms.
Thank you, Director Steve. So we have 400 FTE in the city? About?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It
Are-
fluctuates and it's seasonal, particularly in parks.
Okay. Are we in a hiring freeze now?
We're not expanding, and we have been delaying the recruitment of some positions to explore some savings on some. Yeah. We haven't eliminated positions, but we've been putting a 90-day hold on some.
Okay. Do you anticipate us instituting one in 2026?
Now, you're asking me to speculate, and you're asking me for
Just-
opinion, and yeah.
I know it's tough.
Yeah. I showed you a list of 6 things that we're scratching our head over.
Okay.
So we want to be judicious, because remember, every position in the city is a service delivery too, so that's an obligation, so.
Yeah. And again, I apologize
No.
for this, the bluntness of my line of questioning, but if we were to institute budget cuts, are they more likely to be 1% to 5% across the board, or more like 5% to 10% across the board?
Rather than speculate, I'll tell you what I've done in the past. I have worked for cities that have done percentage cuts, and then I've done, and those have been really unproductive. Because you've got departments that have got 50 people, you've got departments that have got 5 people, you know. So that's more of an executive decision to be strategic, and the executive, of course, talks to the department heads and asks for input and recommendations. So that's typically the route that I've seen to see the best success. So not a, I mean, sure, you would ask a finance guy just to pick a number at 10% across the board, there we are, we're balanced, but in real life, that gets tricky and has consequences, so we want to be careful.
Well, I think to add to that, I don't want to,
You've got to wait for me to ask for you.
I mean,
Councilmember Moore. Go ahead. Okay.
like I said, I mean, I guess, you know, a thought that kind of comes to my mind is whenever there's, and I'm speaking as a former city staff employee, not for Federal Way, but, you know, I mean, when we hear about a difficult budget, those type of things, I hope there's a sense of calmness and, you know, that city management and the mayor is giving out to staff, because I know that I would be nervous. You know, so I just felt like the need to say that, because I know that all of our staff are incredibly important. All of them are dedicated, and I just don't want to get to an area where, you know, we're making them nervous, that type of thing. So,
Right. We come to you for policy level decisions, and the executive, you got to trust that
Yeah.
there's discussions going on. And I'm very cautious to use words that we don't want to have out in the public being bandied about, because what we want to have is we want to have the confidence of employees, the confidence of our citizens, in our governance and in our management.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to be very, and none of this is a surprise. We look at our revenues being down, it's been for all of last year, so nobody's surprised. And the questions asked are we course correcting, are we being careful, and are we taking care of existing obligations before we add something new, you know?
And I guess I'm kind of curious, you know, my mind is very much on 27, 28, building that budget. I mean, what type of shortfall are we talking about? Because I've heard numbers here and there and whatnot, but I wanted to hear from you. What type of shortfall are we looking at?
Beats me.
I mean, but there's a deficit going on. I
We're
mean,
in January right now.
yeah,
And so I need to forecast the rest of 2026, 27, and 28.
okay.
Do I think it's going to stay 2%? No. What's the effect of Sound Transit going to be? What's the effect of building
Sure.
residential properties on TC3, and when is that going to happen? So we're going to need to look at our whole entire city, and I'm not going to give you an easy answer because I don't have one, but it's not because I'm not taking you seriously.
No, and I want to ask you, the reason why I'm saying that is, I mean, I've heard $1 million, I've heard somewhere in the $1 million range is what I've heard publicly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe it's time that we're open about it, we talk about it, and then we start planning to mitigate that, you know?
I'm open with you once a month.
There you go.
Yeah. And I hesitate to throw out a number, because once I throw out a number, that kind of gets to be the anchor of conversations when I made it up or forecasted it very, very broadly, so.
Councilmember Hamilton?
Yes, since it was brought up, I just wanted to mention that I was working for the city in 2009 when we went through some pretty
You have
severe,
my sympathy.
pretty severe cuts. Unions got involved and all that. I want to be very careful, though, as a policy body, to be saying, you know, that we're cutting positions and all that kind of talk, because we're not there yet, right?
I never said those words.
Right,
You're not
and
gonna hear me
I
say
don't,
those words.
I don't want our staff to feel like we're going to be doing that, because we're not saying that. But anyway, I like I said, I'm looking for revenue streams, and I think we're going to get through.
Councilor Britt, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're always committed to a balanced budget and living within our means, and I showed you we have $86 million in the bank. We're not without resources.
Yeah, thank you. Council President?
Thank you. You know, the budget, because it is the city council's budget, although we don't make it, should be based on the city council goals. And it's something we generally talk about at the retreat, but I wouldn't want staff to feel like we're looking towards cutting any positions. There's other things that, if they need to be cut, that could be cut, but certainly not staff. That's not, I haven't heard anyone speak to that. So I wouldn't want people, our staff to worry about that.
Sure, and I'm the finance director. I have very little authority to make such decisions. Those are broad conversations that we have a lot of voices in the discussions.
Councilmember.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously, I'm the one that brought it up, and there's two council members, there, council president, council member that mentioned it after me, and that's, my point in saying is, I just want to be thoughtful, and I want to be very careful.
Good.
As we move forward, with a lot of sensitivity and humility, and really looking to build the best possible budget for our staff, because they do incredible work, and for the public, quite frankly, because they need to get the results out of their tax dollars in this. So with that, I'll just leave it at that. So thank you.
Oh, so sorry. Director Groom, would you let us, when are we doing the year end then? We haven't done it yet.
The auditors permit us up till the end of February, which we're just about close to get all of the 2025 invoices in. And then we do all the accrual entries, and we have till May 1st to get all of our financials to the auditors. And we generally have our exit conference, I want to say, in August. It seems like a long time to
No,
wait for
no, I'm
2025.
talking about year end 2026. We usually do it around December, January. Oh, here we're into February.
For the month of,
For the year end for the year for 2025.
that's what I showed you in the monthly financial report, even though it hasn't gone to the auditors.
So
I'm
you're telling us that, so your very first thing you said was that we were 1.2 million unfavorable to budget. Does
Oh,
that mean in total overall?
For sales tax, for sales
For
tax.
sales tax
Yes.
only?
Yes.
But what are we overall? Because you were up and down, but I didn't get a bottom line.
Oh, that was for the 12 months of 2025. It was short from.
No,
budget
not for sales tax. I'm talking about total budget overall.
That also, May 1st is when we have to have final numbers to get, to close the books, to give to the auditors. So that's when we finish all of the pension accruals and everything.
Would you have a better idea by next month?
No, no, that's, I mean, we're in the audit preparation phase, but the date that we're working for is May 1st. There shouldn't be much, I mean, we have all the revenues except for little trickles.
Okay, well, what I'm getting at, when you respond to former Councilmember McDaniel with his comments, would you send a copy of that to all of the council?
Sure, happy to.
He threw out a lot of numbers. I'm not sure if they were accurate or not. I'd like to know where he's coming up with those numbers and.
Yeah, he was concerned that our police cars and our insurance might have been last year's, that we were doing something across fiscal years, and I think I showed you that those were all 2026 in the current year budget. So, yes, I can,
Okay.
I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, but
Sure.
definitely by May 1st, we're going to have year end.
Yeah, that's because it frustrates us too that we have to do a whole bunch of government accounting standards entries, and it takes months and months to go through the audit process before we actually have it posted to our city website,
Well, I'm
which is kind of
just-
crazy.
Thank you,
Sure.
Steve. I'm just saying, years ago, we used to do, by December, January, we'd have a year end, and we either know whether we were over or under. If we had money left over, then we'd always have $1 million, we could figure out what to do, and we always had a big discussion on that. But we're not having that right now, so obviously, I just
Yeah.
need to know.
Yeah, I try to bring you everything I have on a monthly basis. I'll update you with what we know.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve I move to send the monthly financial, monthly financial report to the
May 3rd.
May
March
3rd.
March 3rd.
Or the March 3rd council meeting for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Steve. We put you through a grueling there, but thank you.
This is how we run a city. Thank you for your engagement.
It's like making sausage, isn't it? Okay, our next meeting is going to be March 31st. Scheduled meeting on March 24th has been moved to a March 31st special meeting. Not sure why, but it has been.
Because we're going to conference.
Because we're out of town.
Will be,
Yeah, at a conference.
it will be an NLC still then.
Yeah, so we moved those two meetings.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, thank you. I think we are adjourned.